Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome everybody, especially members of the media. Today's a very significant and important day in our city. So first of all, I'd like to start off by acknowledging the City Council. You know, we're here to sign the budgets, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But that body of work is a major undertaking. So that said, I want to start off by acknowledging floor leader and Council Budget Chair, Radiant Cordero. Thank her for her leadership and the work that went into that. We have other members. Vice Chair Esther Kiana is here. Tommy Waters may visit or not, but we're not sure yet. But certainly Esther, leaders, Matt Wires here, Val Okimoto's here, Tyler Dos Santos Tam just came in. I don't think I've missed anybody. But they've been our working partners in creating the documents that we're going to sign today. So toward that end, I want to recognize our team, starting first and foremost with Andy Kawano, who you'll be hearing from in a few moments, our Budget and Fiscal Services Director, his Deputy Director, Carrie Castle. Mike Formby's in the room. I have to acknowledge him. Mike's leadership is beyond my ability to express. And Krishna Jairam, our Deputy Managing Director. The countless hours that go on in this kind of planning is really remarkable. So to that end, I also want to acknowledge members of our cabinet, because what they were able to do was not only understand our vision and what we wanted to get done and where our priorities were, but in working tirelessly with the City Council to forge an agreement that allows us to have a budget plan going to this year that we have a lot of confidence in, and it reflects the priorities that we believe in and what we believe is of absolutely importance for us and what we want to get done for the city in this coming fiscal year. Now, I understand that there's been a long-standing disagreement between Council's authority over the Hart budget, between Corporation Council and the Council of, here's Tommy, and the Council Office of Council Affairs. And actually, that disagreement has gone on since 2012 at the inception of Hart. And so none of the mayors have signed the budget since that time, including myself last year, being somewhat new to being mayor. However, I am going to sign today. And I'm going to sign because, as I just got done alluding to, the amount of work that's gone into this, the shared agreement that we have with respect to what it is we all want to get accomplished. Our administration, the City Council, what we all believe to be shared beliefs in the priorities. I'm going to sign this budget today. I'm going to sign 3 bills today. I'm going to sign Bill 11, Bill 12, and Bill 14. Bill 11 is the budget, Bill 12 is our capital improvement, and Bill 14 is the tax credit. But and so before I forget, we're going to give you a lot of data, and we toiled over that because I happen to be one who doesn't want to put too much on a slide, but you almost can't help it. So to that end, Scott Humber, our Director of Communications, is prepared to leave behind for all of you, for all these slides. We're going to each give you a copy, which will save you trying to take notes and we'll engage you. But I think to kick this off, because this is really Andy Kawano's moment in time, is our Director of Budget and Fiscal Services, Andy Kawano.
Good afternoon, everyone. Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to work with you and the administration to pull the budget together. And I'd like to thank the council members again, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Kiana, Budget Chair Cordero, and other honorable council members that Mayor already introduced for your support and for working together genuinely to get the budget to a place that I think will serve us well for fiscal year 2024. Our budget, as adopted by Council, will amount to, in total, $3.41 billion with regard to operations. And for capital improvement programs, we have a budget of $1.34 billion. So the total of the two components amount to $4.75 billion. One of the key starting points of the budget process this year, as we put everything together, we discussed tax relief. All of us received feedback from the various districts about the fact that, the real property tax valuations were a lot higher again this year, 2 years in a row. Therefore, we talked about providing relief and especially to those in need. As a result, the mayor proposed a one-time tax credit of $300 to approximately 152,000 homeowners who have the homeowners exemption. The one-time tax credit will be reflected in the tax bills that'll be mailed out next month. And the tax credit is equivalent to an additional homeowners exemption of $86,000. I'm going to focus on discussing what the mayor proposed. When Vice Chair Kiana speaks, she's going to cover the alignment between administration and council members and some additional budget dollars that were added to the priorities of the mayor. And again, getting back to the one-time credit, we kept the credit flat because we felt that if we kept it flat, homeowners with homes at lower valuations will have more of a benefit. And we think we've done the right thing, and look forward to having more discussions with homeowners as they have questions getting through this year, and looking forward to working with the public to assess whether or not we are able to continue tax relief going forward. We have some tax relief measures that we're currently looking at, and we're going to be looking at others as well. One of the mayor's core priorities is addressing affordable housing. Our budget includes $100 million for land and property acquisition for affordable housing. And key point being that we are working with council and implemented revised budget proviso language to facilitate activated transit-oriented development along the rail line. And as Vice Chair Kiana will share later, Council actually added to this amount in the adopted budget. And, we feel that we're going to put these dollars to good use. The budget includes $8.4 million for the Affordable Housing Strategic Development Program. We call it the Charter Fund, where we set aside a half of 1% of our real property tax revenue annually, and we set it aside for renovation and development of low-income housing. Further, to address homelessness, we set aside $15.4 million for homeless initiatives, including $11.5 million for the continuation of the successful Housing First initiative with regard to the city's involvement with the state in that program, and $1 million to continue the core program, Crisis Outreach Response Engagement, led by our Emergency Services Department, with the aim to remove homeless from harmful situations, to triage, to engage, and determine where to put homeless in the continuum of care to help them to eventually get off of the streets.
I just want to highlight a couple of the things that I think we're really proud of. One is public safety. Yeah, a patrolling police officer is the best deterrent to crime. We're putting an additional $40 million into HPD's budget. $40 million, that's significant. On top of the $12 million that we gave them last year, that totals $352 million. I know Director talked about 541 for all of public safety, but we're really making an impact here. But we're also going to expect more from our police department. We want the police officers out there patrolling. We want them out there catching the bad guys. Also public safety is our lifeguards. One of the things that we tried to do years ago is the dawn till dusk, right? Just because the lifeguards get off the lifeguards are getting off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but still people are still swimming because there's sunlight out there. We're going to work together to try to get this program up and running, and we put in additional 16 positions for lifeguards. The other thing that I'm really proud of is property tax relief. Working with the mayor and budget director, we found additional money in order to give it back into the pockets of our constituents. Now, Bill 14, working again with Budget and Fiscal Services, we found additional money to increase the one-time tax credit from $300 to $350. The other thing we worked on was Resolution 23-33, which changes the rates. Now, the rates haven't been changed in years, you folks, years. One of the things we came up with working together again with Budget Chair and the Permitted Interaction Group, actually, we tinkered with the residential aid. These are for people who own second homes, and we hope that these are landlords, I should say, and these are rental properties. And we hope, and I'm asking folks who have these properties to take that tax relief that you're going to get, in some cases up to an additional $500. Either put it back into your rental property by sprucing it up and making it more livable, or passing that savings on to your tenant. That's what our hope is when we tinkered with that. And then lastly, just talking about one thing that's really significant that Director Kawano and Mayor did, and that the council also bought into, was the previous administrations had what was called a provisional vacant position account. And there was up towards $30 or $40 million in that account. And anytime a department wanted to fill a vacant position, they had to go through the mayor's office and then come through the council, and we sign off, and then they're allowed to fill these positions. What we did this year is we put the money into the departments so that the departments can provide better city services without having to come through the city council for that change. So that was significant. So you're going to see a bump in every single department, whether it's parks, land management, facilities maintenance, design and construction. We put the money into their departments with the hope that they're going to fill these vacant positions. And if you fill these vacant positions, we should be able to provide better city services. And that was coming from the administration. And I thank you, Mayor, because this is a really great budget. And the fact that the mayor is signing it today, too, guys, that's significant. I'm super stoked. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Radiant Cordero, the council's budget chair. And I would just like to say we just completed my 11th round of a budget season, my 11th time doing the budget. And I always keep saying that every single budget is never the same. The circumstances, the things that we are faced with is different every single year. And what we will do moving forward is have to look into the future. And a lot of things that we have in the budget, as you saw here, are taking care of things that we are dealing with right now. But what was not mentioned are things that we are also providing hope, but also planning for our future. A lot of the funding went into our TOD, our transit, our mass transit, but also our electrification of transportation, of vehicles, and also looking at focusing on our roads and rehabilitation, looking at drainage, our streams and embankments, looking at sidewalks and utilizing not only our general funds, but our federal funding as well. Also looking into the future, we have to really be aware of all the federal funding that we have now and have utilized in the past few years, and being able to determine, working with the city administration and the rest of our council, to figure out what we still need to fund through our general funds. And that's a conversation that and I hope that we can continue looking forward towards in the future as a council. But as we have seen here, lots of dollar signs and lots of priorities. But a lot of this really, and I mentioned in the budget meeting or in a council meeting, tells a story of a priority of our council members. And while the budget process has been basically scrutinizing the mayor's budget, a lot of that priorities has shown through in what we've adopted today. And like I mentioned, this is my 11th budget season that I've gone through, and very rarely, actually, this may be the first budget signing that I've been to where the mayor is going to be signing our budget. So I do want to thank Mayor Blangiardi and his team for being able to not only sign this budget, but being willing to work with us through hours on end, weekends on end, to ensure that we're able to get to a point to really come through for our communities. And I just want to say that the budget doesn't stop here. The budget starts now to continue putting these things out to our communities. So I ask everyone in our communities to reach out to your council members, the city administration, the mayor, to ensure that this money is being put to use in the way that we've prioritized it. Thank you.